Imagine Earth as a young planet still hot and fiery from its recent birth. This was our world 4.5 billion years ago. Volcanoes erupted, spewing molten rock and gases into the atmosphere. The oceans were vast and turbulent, constantly bombarded by meteorites. It was a chaotic time, yet from this cosmic soup, life emerged. In the depths of these primordial oceans near volcanic vents, the first building blocks of life came together. Simple molecules formed from the elements forged in the hearts of dying stars began to interact. These interactions, driven by energy from the Earth and the Sun, led to the formation of more complex molecules. This was a slow and gradual process, taking millions of years. Eventually, these molecules became enclosed within membranes, forming the first cells. These single-celled organisms were incredibly simple, yet they possessed the spark of life, the ability to replicate and evolve. These early life forms were our ancestors, the Adam and Eve of all living things. These first cells were like tiny factories, tirelessly copying themselves. They were the pioneers of life, gradually changing the planet with their existence. They released oxygen into the atmosphere. This paved the way for the evolution of more complex life forms. For billions of years, single-celled organisms were the only inhabitants of Earth. Then, something remarkable happened. Cells began to cooperate, forming colonies. These colonies became increasingly complex, with different cells specializing in different tasks. This was the dawn of multicellular life. Imagine a group of musicians, each playing a different instrument. Alone, they can create beautiful music. But together, they can create a symphony, something far greater than the sum of its parts. This is similar to what happened with the evolution of multicellular life. The first multicellular organisms were simple, soft-bodied creatures. They lived in the oceans, feeding on bacteria and algae. But over millions of years they evolved and diversified. They developed new ways of moving, feeding, and reproducing. They became more complex, giving rise to a dazzling array of life forms. This transition to multicellularity was a pivotal moment in the history of life. It paved the way for the evolution of all the plants and animals we see today, including ourselves. We are all descendants of these early multicellular pioneers. In the vast oceans of ancient Earth, a new type of animal emerged, the vertebrate. These creatures possessed a stiff rod running along their back, called a backbone or vertebral column. This innovation provided support and structure, allowing for greater size and mobility. Imagine a long, flexible rod. Now imagine muscles attaching to this rod, allowing it to bend and move with strength and precision. This is the power of a backbone. It revolutionized the animal kingdom. The first vertebrates were fish. They were sleek and agile, darting through the water in pursuit of prey. They developed fins for steering and balance, and gills to extract oxygen from the water. Some grew to enormous sizes, becoming the top predators of their time. The evolution of vertebrates was a major turning point. It led to the development of a vast array of animals, from tiny fish to giant whales, from slithering snakes to soaring eagles. And of course it led to us. We are all vertebrates, inheriting our basic body plan from these ancient swimmers. For billions of years, life flourished in the oceans, but the land remained a barren frontier, hostile and unforgiving. Then, about 375 million years ago, a group of adventurous vertebrates dared to leave the water. These were the first tetrapods, four-limbed creatures that would eventually conquer the land. Imagine the challenges they faced: breathing air, supporting their weight against gravity, finding food and water in this new environment. It was a monumental leap in evolution. The first tetrapods were amphibians, creatures that could live both in water and on land. They had lungs to breathe air, but they still needed to return to water to lay their eggs. Over millions of years they evolved and diversified, giving rise to a wide variety of amphibians, including frogs, toads, and salamanders. This transition from water to land was a pivotal moment in the history of life. It opened up a vast new world of possibilities for life to explore and conquer, and it set the stage for the evolution of all terrestrial vertebrates, including reptiles, birds, and mammals, and of course us. Section 5. The Age of Dinosaurs, a Time of Giants. About 250 million years ago, a new group of animals emerged. The dinosaurs. They were reptiles, but unlike their cold-blooded cousins, dinosaurs were warm-blooded, giving them an edge in a changing world. They were also masters of adaptation, evolving into a dazzling array of shapes and sizes. Imagine a world ruled by giants. Towering herbivores like Brachiosaurus grazed on treetops. Fearsome predators like Tyrannosaurus rex stalked their prey. Smaller, feathered dinosaurs flitted through the forests. The dinosaurs dominated the Earth for over 180 million years. They were incredibly successful, spreading to every corner of the globe. During their reign, they witnessed the breakup of the supercontinent Pangaea, the formation of new oceans and mountain ranges, and dramatic shifts in climate. The age of dinosaurs was a time of incredible biodiversity. It was a period of intense evolution, where life experimented with new forms and lifestyles. And although the dinosaurs eventually went extinct, their legacy lives on in the birds, their feathered descendants that still grace our skies today. Section 6, A New Dawn, The Rise of Mammals. About 66 million years ago, a cataclysmic event shook the Earth. A massive asteroid slammed into the Yucatan Peninsula, triggering widespread wildfires, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions. The skies darkened, temperatures plummeted, and the reign of the dinosaurs came to a dramatic end. This event, while devastating, opened up new opportunities for other animals. Among the survivors were small, furry creatures that had lived in the shadows of the dinosaurs, the mammals. Mammals possessed several advantages over their reptilian predecessors. They were warm-blooded, allowing them to thrive in a variety of climates. They gave birth to live young, providing them with greater protection. And they had larger brains, giving them an edge in intelligence. With the dinosaurs gone, mammals flourished. They diversified rapidly, evolving into a dazzling array of forms. They spread to every corner of the globe, from the Arctic to the Amazon. They took to the trees, burrowed underground, and even returned to the seas. Section 7, Climbing to New Heights, the Primate Lineage. As mammals diversified, one group evolved a unique set of adaptations for life in the trees, the primates. These were our ancestors, creatures with grasping hands and feet, forward-facing eyes for depth perception, and larger brains relative to their body size. Imagine swinging through the trees, using your hands to grasp branches and your eyes to judge distances. This is the world of primates. Early primates were small, nocturnal creatures that fed on insects and fruits. Over millions of years they evolved and diversified, giving rise to a wide variety of forms, from tiny lemurs to massive gorillas. Some primates, like monkeys, developed tails for balance, while others, like apes, lost their tails and developed longer arms for swinging through the trees. The evolution of primates was a crucial step in our own lineage. It set the stage for the development of intelligence, tool use, and complex social behavior, traits that would eventually define our species. Section 8. The Thinking Ape. The human family evolves. About 7 million years ago, in the forests of Africa, a new lineage of primates emerged, the hominins. These were our direct ancestors, creatures that walked upright on two legs, freeing their hands for tool use and carrying. Imagine standing tall, looking out over the savanna. Your hands are no longer needed for walking. They are free to grasp, to manipulate, to create. This is the dawn of the hominin lineage. The first hominins were not that different from their ape cousins. They were small-brained and still spent much of their time in trees. However, they possessed a key adaptation, bipedalism. This allowed them to exploit new resources, travel long distances, and use their hands for carrying food and tools. Over millions of years, hominins evolved and diversified. They developed larger brains, more sophisticated tools, and complex social structures. They migrated out of Africa, spreading to Europe and Asia. They faced challenges and overcame obstacles, driven by the forces of natural selection. Section 9. A Spark of Consciousness, the Dawn of Homo sapiens. About 300,000 years ago, a new species of hominin emerged in Africa, Homo sapiens. We were not the only humans on the planet at that time. Other human species like Neanderthals and Denisovans also walked the earth. But over time we outcompeted and outlived them all, becoming the sole survivors of the human lineage. What made us different? What gave us the edge? It wasn't just our larger brains or our ability to walk upright, it was something far more profound, a spark of consciousness. Homo sapiens developed the ability for language, allowing us to communicate complex ideas, share stories, and pass on knowledge across generations. We developed abstract thought, enabling us to imagine things that don't exist and create art that reflects our inner world. We developed a sense of self, an awareness of our own mortality and our place in the universe. This cognitive revolution set us apart from all other animals. It allowed us to cooperate in large numbers, build complex societies, and eventually dominate the planet. It gave us the power to shape our own destiny, for better or for worse. You, dear reader, are a product of this epic evolutionary journey. Your body, your mind, your very existence are the result of billions of years of evolution, a continuous chain of life stretching back to those first single-celled organisms in the primordial soup. You carry within you the legacy of countless generations, the accumulated wisdom and experience of all your ancestors. Never forget the grand narrative of life. Remember that you are a part of something much bigger than yourself. You are a part of life, a force that has shaped the planet and continues to evolve, carrying the potential for both great destruction and great creation.